You're now listening to the 1130 podcast. Enjoy the show.
Yo, what it do, everybody? It's your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels. Y'all already know what it is, man. Welcome back, everyone, to the 1130 podcast. What's good, everybody doing out there on this Friday? You guys, man, I'm back at it. You back at it here on Talk Pro Wrestling. Good morning, good night, good afternoon to all my listeners all across the world, wherever you may be at, in the States, Germany, Canada, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whether you're tuning in here on YouTube, man. Thank you guys so much. And whether you listen to me up, make sure you don't forget before you go, and do it right now, man. Hit that subscribe button, like it, leave a comment, and do all that great stuff. And don't forget to follow the 1130 podcast on all social media platforms. But you guys, man, like I said, it's Friday. It's time for Talk Pro Wrestling. About to get into the show. We got a couple of things we want to get. I got a couple of things I want to get off my chest, man. I'm riding solo, but that's all cool, man. You know, the feedback is amazing. You guys love it. When I just get my reactions on what went down in the week of pro wrestling. But before I do, you guys, shout out my guest who was on last week, Blackheart and Warren Marlowe, man. The commission was in the building. He was chopping up on a bunch of things. And also shout out my guy Blackheart, man. He had we were on the commission talks this past Wednesday, you guys. Yes, check him out wherever you get your podcasts. That's Off the Top Ropes podcast. Subscribe to him, follow him, subscribe, follow, do all that great stuff. And yeah, man, we had a bunch of fun along with Warren Marlowe this past Wednesday on YouTube Live, man. So definitely go check that out. But we're gonna get into the show. We got a couple of things we want to dive into, review this past week in wrestling, obviously on SmackDown, RAW, NXT. AEW was in Washington, D.C. right here this past week, and they're also going to be in D.C. tonight for Rampage. So that's going to be a very interesting show. I know a lot of people don't get down with Rampage. Yeah, me neither, but hey, it's wrestling. I love wrestling. But like I said, you guys, I'm going to start off the show. I mentioned I was on my guy Warren Marlowe and Blackheart's podcast, Buzzing with Marlowe, shout him out. And also shout out my guy Blackheart from Off the Top Ropes podcast. And this past Wednesday, we were on there chopping it up. And a big topic that been going around, a trending topic in wrestling, is Mustafa Ali. You guys, Mustafa Ali, current WWE superstar, is just, you know, seems like he's had enough. And it's not really though. He's had enough. He wants to do other stuff that he wants to accomplish in his career before, you know, I guess it's time to wrap it up. You know, you can't be a wrestler and can't wrestle full-time all your life. But Mustafa Ali is a great guy, man. Great competitor, great talker in a way, because I've seen a lot of stuff, you know, where he do interviews and stuff, and I'm like, man, the guy really got a good head on his shoulders. He want to be successful. I mean, who don't want to be successful? But I mean, the guy just had so much stuff planned for him as a wrestler, and it seems though it hasn't came fruition within World Wrestling Entertainment. And Ali has, you know, voiced over numerous of times, even on WWE's The Bump when he was a guest, that, you know, his character is the reason why his character, and not only his character, his name, you know, Mustafa Ali, you know, that Muslim name and stuff like that, you know, people look at him and he gets stared at and he automatically get judged. And we all seen, you know, since 9/11, you know, anybody who came in WWE and was a Muslim, they didn't really go too far. You know, we all remember those guys, you feel me? But Mustafa Ali wanted to break that narrative and, you know, truly live out his passion that he has for professional wrestling. You know, he was a cop in Chicago and, you know, loved wrestling. And right now, Mustafa Ali has asked for his release by WWE, you know, and we've seen a couple of people, well, more than a couple of people. I'm just, that's an understatement. We've seen more than a couple of people who have asked for their release and was granted their release, or we've seen numerous of people over the last 2.5 years has get released by WWE. And some, you know, has been like, yo, man, this is not worth it. this not worth it. Do I really have to sit up here and keep sacrificing my life for something that, is really not paying off or whatever? But, Ali seems though he was going to have a big run, really, really promising. I don't even want to say promising, but it was supposed to been, and I believe it was, I hope everybody don't get mad at me. I believe it was 2018, 2017. I'm not sure, but it was the WrestleMania Kofi Mania, man. Mustafa Ali, he was in a match with Randy Orton on SmackDown Live, and I believe Mustafa Ali nose got broken or something to that effect that went down, and it caused Ali to miss quite a few times, even that year's WrestleMania. And I'm pretty sure he was a little upset. And I would actually be upset too to see what actually, I'm happy for, the fellow coworker and everything, but to actually see what transpired, and man, that could have been me, man. But we all know the Kofi Mania, Kofi Kingston was inserted into Mustafa Ali's spot numerous of years ago, a couple of years ago, and Kofi just took off. And obviously the New Day is a hot commodity. WWE has dubbed them the greatest faction or the greatest, group or whatever. Hey, that's subjective. Everybody got their feelings with this. The Hardys, the Dudleys, Legion of Doom. It don't even matter. It don't even matter. But the simple fact of the matter is that the New Day, was, dubbed the greatest faction, in the modern era. Whoever you choose to, be the greatest faction, that's on you and stuff. But Kofi Kingston took that moment, took that opportunity, and ran with it. He was in a gauntlet match, and nobody expected Kofi Kingston to last, that long. And on the other hand, on Monday Night Raw, I believe it was in that same year that Seth Rollins was in a gauntlet match also, and that gauntlet match took it was an hour and 50 minutes, and Seth Rollins was in that match majority of the time. But nonetheless, though, Kofi Kingston survived majority of the match. He had tapped out to AJ Styles, but then he did it again at the Elimination Chamber, and he just kept proving himself, week in and week out. Like, bro, I've been here this long, I deserve an opportunity, and he kept getting those opportunities while Ali was sitting at the bench or sitting at home on the bench or wherever he was. Man, I knew that was balling in him. But Kofi Kingston went on to WrestleMania, defeated Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship, and what a moment that was, man. It would be one of the greatest moments in WWE history and one of the greatest WrestleMania moments ever. But nonetheless, though, fast forward to the return of Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali, he comes back. I'm healthy. And Kofi Kingston, I don't know if Kofi was still champion at the time, but even if he wasn't champion, even when Kofi Kingston lost the WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar on that first SmackDown on Fox, and sad that he didn't get his rematch. We ain't gonna go there though, but I think the program, the right program, at least for that next year's WrestleMania, should have been Mustafa Ali versus Kofi Kingston. You already had it written in. You didn't have to think of something else. You didn't have to say, well, we don't have plan. That's the plan. You feel me? And it was like, working with WWE, and I can tell you, I never worked there, but from numerous of stories, you got to get what you has been thrown at. Somebody throw you a bone, you take it, and you make that the best damn bone or whatever, you do the best out of it, I was watching the New Days pod, and Xavier Woods was talking about how independent guys, everybody dreamed of one day growing up working for WWE, if you're an aspiring wrestler or whatever the case may be. And a lot of guys would want to make it to the WWE, rightfully so. It's the big leagues, right? And a lot of guys would who would make it and get released would be like, oh man, they gave me some shitty gimmick, or oh man, I was in this match or whatever. Look here, that TV time is your time, and do whatever you got to do with it. Make the most of it. Don't sit here and bitch, moan, complain about, oh man, I was only on TV for 2 minutes, and instead of hey, look, you got exposure. You feel me? I can't even. Something just hit me right now. It was numerous of years ago. I can't even think. I'm just gonna say No Chin. I cannot think of his name, but I know everybody know who I'm talking about. The dude with no chin. You feel me? He wrestled Braun Strowman in a squash match, like literally a squash match. Like Braun Strowman was really coming out and he was really getting it going. And Braun Strowman beat him, but he went so viral because he had no fucking chin. He had no chin. So, I cannot think of his name right now. Oh, man. But nonetheless, though, he wound up, staying. And I don't know if he got a contract for a little while, but he wound up staying and they brought him back. He helped Carmella win the women's Money in the Bank ladder match the first time. And, of course, the backlash with that. And, he went up and grabbed it for, blah, 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 blah. Man, it's like on the tip of my tongue, but I cannot think of it. Please, everyone, leave a comment down below. What's his name? As soon as I get off here, I'm gonna think of his name though. But nonetheless, man, he took that time that he was on Monday Night Raw with Braun Strowman in the middle of the ring, and he didn't really do nothing. All he did was go out there and had a one-on-one matchup with Braun Strowman, or just get your ass whooped, basically. And his no chin sold everything. And he brought him back, and he even had a WWE Championship match against AJ Styles. So, if they give you what they say, if they give you lemons, make lemonade, bro. Do what you gotta do, man. Do what you gotta do. But Mustafa Ali, never got that match between Kofi Kingston. Sad to say, we never got a lot of great matches that it seems like it was just right there for WWE to make. But obviously, life happens, things happen. We are in a pandemic right now, but hey, Mustafa Ali has gone through a lot of transitions, and he was formerly within a tag team with Mansoor, who's from Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabia talent who won I think a trial or whatever a couple of years ago, and now he's with WWE. And Mansoor, man, he's a great guy. I remember him on WWE's The Bump doing each weekend and week out. He was doing like a promo. I'm not gonna say promo test, but he had a mask on and he would pull these promos each and every week, and they were so good. But they were promos that superstars done already, but he did it so well. It's kind of like The Masked Singer, He did the promos. You just had to figure out who the hell it was. But nobody guessed it was Mansoor. But they stuck them together, and Mansoor and Mustafa Ali didn't do much, but they did okay for what they did. And I believe Ali turned on Mansoor, and that fell flat right there. But before then, Ali was having great matches with Ricochet on WWE's main event, where actually Tommaso Ciampa, you can find him on WWE's main event right now, looking totally different. But yeah, man, it seems like they might be bringing him up. But yeah, man, Ricochet and Ali was turning the house down, and just that sort of never made it to TV, or they just can never find time for them, and it's real sad. And the old story is, man, he asked for his release. He wasn't granted his release. I said this past week on Off the Top Ropes podcast. I feel as though he shot himself in the foot asking for his release. I mean, well, not necessarily asking for the release, the argument that went down, per se, the rumor with him and Vinnie Mac and stuff like that. But I mean, hell, Vince McMahon, I guess, love it when you stand up to him and not being a sucker. You got some plans, or you want to take your character or take, whatever to the next level, or you want to take a turn with it, it's right to speak up, right? But, if I was Vinnie Mac, I guess I would have some type of respect for him. But, and on the other side, I feel like I said, he shot himself in the foot. So, WWE is just going to let him bleed out. They're going to let him bleed out, and they're going to eventually release him when they ever feel like it, So, but also on the other flip side too, Vince McMahon could be like, you know what, kid, you got some balls. I like what you did. We can find something for you. We don't know, you don't know. But Vince McMahon right now, speaking of Vinnie Mac and Vince McMahon, he's working with on WWE TV on Monday Night Raw with Austin Theory. I hope he did not give up on Austin Theory. I think he's a big favorite to win this year's Royal Rumble. So we don't know, man. There's a lot of people and a whole lot of speculations going on with this year's Royal Rumble, man. Like, for real, it is next week, man, for real. It's going down. The Royal Rumble in St. Louis, the Dome. Big matches are already, been confirmed. We got the women's Royal Rumble match. I was just checking out Renee Young's, she don't go by Renee Young no more. But I was checking out her podcast, The Session, man, and she just had Summer Rae on there. Was talking about her career and being in WWE at the time, and at the time it just was the Divas division. It wasn't the women's division. It wasn't a women's revolution sort of at that point. I mean, Paige, Charlotte, Sasha, they were there. They were NXT, but they were there. But Summer Rae, said, man, I kind of like wish they would have kept some of them a secret, But she was also honored that she was in the category with, the Bella Twins, Lita, Mickie James, a lot of women, and a lot of great women and Hall of Famers. And not only that, man, like my opinion, when I first heard the news that, I talked about it also last weekend on the podcast, Mickie James, Knockouts Women's Champion, will be in the 2022 WWE's Royal Rumble. And man, oh man, I think that is insane, you guys. Like, my man Blackheart said, man, ain't no forbidden door open at all. Yeah, I mean, hey, look at it. That's just a fun little thing I guess we could always imagine as wrestling fans who didn't get a WWE game, whether it was SmackDown versus Raw, 2K. You created wrestlers from other promotions and had them, have a storyline or whatever where it was like Impact versus WWE. You've done it, but we all want to see that big, big show, big event, back in the days in 2001 where WWF, WWE, whatever you want to call it, guys, bought WCW, and we had that whole invasion. But the whole thing about the invasion, it was just the mid-card guys. I mean, besides Booker T and Diamond Dallas Page, who were former WCW World Champions, majority of the guys were mid-carders. Scott Hall, Nash, Hogan, Goldberg. A lot of those guys sat out. Ric Flair, they sat on that contract. They was getting paid millions of dollars. So the hell if I come? No, I'm gonna sit home, get paid, and of course, when their contract expired, they all came over. They all came. I mean, it took a little time for Goldberg, but he eventually came. Though.
Yo, what up? This your boy Kenneth Stones, aka Coffee Weaston.
This your boy DOE, Good Brother Bowl.
And we are the Dirty Hills. You already know, man, you tuning in to 11:30 podcast. Mm-hmm. Not 7:30, but 11:30.
Dude, that's my job. Not 7:30, but 11:30.
Yeah. And you have been Dirty Hills approved.
Yeah, the Royal Rumble is going to be something, man. Just a lot of fun speculation going on. Like I said, Mickie James, she's the Impact Women's Champion. We got Cody Rhodes, who has announced he's a free agent. He is working under AEW, not under contract. So he can go wherever he wants. He is, the TNT champion right now. So the speculation, will Cody Rhodes pop up in St. Louis a week from tomorrow and be in the Royal Rumble? Like, I mean, man, oh man, Moose, the Impact World Heavyweight Champion. Speculation, will he pop up in the men's Royal Rumble? It's just so much, man. So much. Lita also, she appeared for the first time in forever on SmackDown last Friday, and it was a good time, good moment to see Lita back. And she says she's back. She got one more run in her, man. And to be honest with you, man, oh man, obviously that was Bayley moment. Like when Lita came out, the person to come out to interrupt to interrupt Lita is Bayley. I'm so excited as always, but it would have been Bayley, I mean, Bayley always talked about her childhood hero in the pictures that she showed, it was with Lita and stuff. So I thought, man, that was the moment. But obviously, though, like, I mean, come on, Lita coming out there, in the middle of the ring, I'm back, and then out comes the Queen. I mean, come on. A lot of people might hate and shit on Charlotte, but look here. She's the Queen. She's the best women's wrestler WWE got right now, that can take you to the next level, so. But nonetheless, I can't wait to see Bayley return. Hopefully it be at the Royal Rumble and Bayley could eliminate Lita. Like, there you go. With storytelling right there. Like, that's another thing. Bayley, Lita, she looked up to her. She got pictures of her, meet and greets and everything. And to face her one-on-one at WrestleMania, Come on, Bailey gets that. Lita can win it, her first match back at Mania. That's good for her. Bailey, she win. To be honest with you, behind the scenes, or even, in the ring or whatever, she wins. Regardless, she wins, man. Like, that's a dream matchup. But yeah, the Royal Rumble, man, whole lot of speculations with that, you guys. The WWE Championship is on the line. Brock Lesnar taking on Bobby Lashley. Man. Oh, man. I said this on Off the Top Ropes podcast. Like, yeah, I don't know if this match is going to take place at WrestleMania, which it could happen. And I was saying, man, I wanted them to keep this at Mania. But a lot of people right now, like, hell, you know what? They're giving it to us. We wanted this match. They're giving it to us. It don't matter what pay-per-view it is. But it's the Royal Rumble. One of the biggest Royal Rumbles ever. So this is going to be something. The promo we seen on Raw a couple of weeks ago, and even that awesome video package, with the comparison of Bobby and Lesnar on Raw this past Monday, but the words that were changed and Brock just coming a different monster, just voicing how he feel and just like, yo, man, you're a Brock Lesnar wannabe. I didn't need to cross your path. You didn't need to cross my path, but if we did, I would have whipped that ass. And Mike dropped them though. Like, man, like this is the matchup that everybody's looking forward to. And I got Brock Lesnar winning this. I got him winning this by either DQ, because you got so many factors that plays in with this match. You got Paul Heyman is, Brock Lesnar's advocate. You got MVP is right there with Bobby Lashley. And then on the other hand, on that same hand with Bobby Lashley, MVP, they were just with the Hurt Business, but now they're not, but they are, but they're not. I don't know, but I guess they're not. But Bobby Lashley with their ass. So, you might have them come in and trade and try also to say, you know what, you ain't about to become champion at all. So they could try to do, so there's so many factors that's going to come into play. But if Bobby Lashley loses, and if that does happen, and if he does lose that match, he will go on later on that night to win the Royal Rumble and be like, yo, I'm taking on Bobby for the championship at WrestleMania, and that would be dope. That would be dope. So, hey, man, Brock Lesnar, Bobby, WrestleMania, or the Royal Rumble, man, let's go, man. Let's go. Also, Roman Reigns, yes, the tribal chief, the head of the table, taking on Seth freaking Rollins. Yes, man. This story is, come on. Roman Shield brothers. Roman Reigns said, I'm in God mode now, man. Like, he really is. Nobody can hold a candle to Roman Reigns and what he's doing right now. Nobody. So, like, from what the storyline is going and where they're going, I'm loving it. I am loving it. The Royal Rumble is shaping out to be something. Also, on SmackDown, you guys, we've seen the Viking Raiders win a fatal four-way matchup, and they are the new number one contenders for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and I believe they will take on the Usos at the Royal Rumble, man, for real. The Usos are the ones, and the Viking Raiders are about to get the business, man, for real. They are about to get the business. And, like I said, man, Royal Rumble is coming up. A lot of big speculations. Who you think will win this year's 2022 men's and women's Royal Rumble? Leave your comments down below. I'm going to keep my eyes for next week. I'm going to wait, man, because it's shaping out pretty good. This is shaping out pretty good, man. WrestleMania season is here. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, you guys. But we're going to move on here on to talk pro wrestling, you guys. Man, NXT, you guys. Yes, NXT was pretty dope this past week. We seen the main event of Walter. I hope I'm still able to call him Walter, but I'm not going to announce him by his new name that WWE filed trademark for. And to find out that it was a Nazi, commentary. I don't know the whole story with that. I like him as Walter. He was like the longest reigning. He was the longest reigning NXT UK champion of all time. Why would they change his name? He pulled that promo after NXT went off the air and introduces his new name. So it was just very confusing to a lot of people. And to come to find out, WWE has abandoned that trademark. So, WTF, man. That's crazy right there. But Walter had an incredible matchup with Roderick Strong this past week on NXT, man. NXT. They popping, man. They are popping. And I was watching NXT UK a couple of weeks ago, and it seems though Walter is wrapping up. He's wrapping up his days over on NXT UK. So he's fully over here on NXT. So we'll see where that goes and more, man. And the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic has took off. We have seen, man, I can't even think of the guys who advanced, but I know the Creed brothers beat Brayson Riggs. They beat that team. Legado del Fantasma was upset by another team. It's going to look pretty interesting. You know, I felt like they were going to do something like they did with the King of the Ring when the men's King of the Ring, or the women's, and it was some upsets, pretty, big upsets. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, what, really? Like the Legado del Fantasma wasn't going a little bit further? Like I had either Legado del Fantasma or MSK on one side, going off in like the semifinals, or being the final pick going up against the Creed brothers. So it's going to be the Creed brothers or Grizzly Young Veterans, but I'm going with the Creed brothers. So it's going to be MSK versus the Creed brothers, or the Creed brothers versus which I thought will be Legado del Fantasma, but obviously not. But yeah, man, NXT is looking up. The Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic continues next week, and man, got a lot going on. You guys. Speaking of a lot going on, man, it was a lot going on here in DC this past Wednesday. AEW was live, man, on TBS with Dynamite. Yes, man, and we've seen the return of I'm not gonna try, man. I'm not gonna try. Every time I try. I try. But we've seen the return of Jon Moxley, you guys, man. Kudos to Jon Moxley. Man, he was out for a while. He said he was out since October, battling some, issues and stuff. And I'm glad to see Jon Moxley back, man. He returned at the top of the show this past week on Dynamite, just to tell everyone, man, and how he was doing, give him an update. And I thought it was really, really dope for him to come out there and just say, man, yo, man, I had this weird ass dream, man. And crazy as and there's another, the internet is also the wrestling fans, the wrestling groups are in an uproar also because the fan was kicked out of the arena because he called Moxley a fucking drunk or whatever like that, and I don't know, maybe Moxley had a lot going on, and you could tell he was really emotional at the start of the promo. But, that guy was just being, I guess he was being an ass. He was being a dick. It wasn't the place, man. We all know he was going through some things. And for Moxley to come out there and express how he felt and that dream he had, him being on his hands and knees, being in the dirt, the black cloud over his head, man, is just, man, so kudos to him, man. If you're going through whatever, I was just talking about this on the main podcast this past week. You guys check that out right after this episode. Music is everything, Black Trauma with my guy, AJ Hollywood. Man, mental health is for real. Trauma is for real. And we all got scars, man. We all got scars, but the scars that's on us, man, that's on our body, it's all, at the end of the day, it's all worth it, man. It's your story, and if nobody don't like it, fuck them. Put it like that. It's your story. These scars that's on your body that's what make you. That's determine who you are. So, like I said, man, if nobody like it, fuck him, and obviously maybe the guy didn't like it. Maybe he wanted to be an asshole. Maybe he was drunk already, and he was excited for the show. But kudos to Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley will be taking on Ethan Page tonight, live on Rampage here in DC. So that's going to be dope, man. His first matchup back.
Making a podcast just got a lot easier. Meet Anchor, the easiest way for anyone to make a high-quality podcast and distribute it everywhere audio is heard. No studio or fancy equipment needed. With Anchor, all you need to do to start podcasting is hold your phone up to your ear to record, either by yourself or with friends. You can also add music, background tracks, and voice messages from your listeners all right from your phone. Then publish it everywhere, including Apple Podcasts and Google Play Music with just one tap. That's it. You're all set up. It's really that easy. You can use Anchor on the go or from your desktop, and either way you get unlimited podcast hosting. All this combined means it just got ridiculously easy to make your own podcast, whether you're a beginner or a pro. And the best part is that Anchor's 100% free. Get the app now for iOS or Android, or visit anchor.fm to get started. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
Another thing we seen on to be honest with you, man, when I was watching it live, I literally I blinked, man. Turned my head, turned back, the match was over. CM Punk hit Shawn Spears with GTS, it was over, man. And MJF just running. He was running, man, like, bro, you're not gonna catch me. Like, man, when he get his hands on him, that's gonna be a wrap, man. That's gonna be a wrap. For real. Man. Speaking of a wrap, man, it was a wrap for the Acclaim, even though I love the Acclaim. They are future tag team champions. But the match with Sting and Darby Allin, like, kudos to Sting for him to be able to still do what he do. Like, I love him. Kudos to him, man, once again. And, that video, I don't know if you guys seen that video. Like I said, AEW was in DC. And, some fans, they were in traffic, and Darby Allin and Sting got out of their car to surprise some fans. For real, man. Like, that was really, really dope just to say AEW. And actually, the people, they had tags that say AEW on it, AEW. And I was like, man, that's some cool stuff, man. Like, man, because I remember back in 2010, Baltimore, Maryland, I went to Baltimore, Maryland. It was Monday Night Raw. And it was my birthday, man. I was super excited. I was like, oh, man, a show on my birthday, man. Like, this got to be like a dope birthday present, right? And I took my power wheelchair with me to Baltimore. And I didn't take my manual chair so I can get in and out the cabs, easily and accessible. So I took my chair because I want to be able to ride around. I don't want nobody pushing me when they got to get ready and blah, 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 whatever like that. So I took my power chair and we was like, God damn, are we going to get back to the Greyhound station so we can get back to DC? And, some of the WWE crew took out of their time from putting their stuff back up to head to the next town on that Tuesday because then, Raw was, live Monday night and SmackDown was taken on Tuesday. So they took their time out and helped put my wheelchair in the back of the trunk. Man, that was dope. That was a birthday present for me. So, man, I definitely understand them fans right there, for real. Also, Serena Deeb defeated Sky Blue. Man, Sky Blue, I'm loving Sky Blue, man. I don't know about y'all, but everybody love when the sky's blue. That's like, man, it's gonna be a good day. Today is gonna be a good day. Dope matchup right there. Really, really dope matchup. Malachi Black and Brody King when they match up over the Varsity Blondes. And Cody Rhodes, man. Everybody, shit and hate on Cody Rhodes. He just, I think he brought out another over the top but passionate promo as he always do. But yeah, man, like I said, I would love to see him in the Rumble. Don't think that will happen, but if anybody close that I think will happen is Moose. If they got Impact World Champion, if we got the women's, we can get Moose. And I think Moose will be dope. Moose will be really, really dope. We can get like a confrontation backstage, or at least a stir down. You feel me? And then up come the Usos to kind of like, brush it off. Because Roman Reigns, like he said, he's in God mode with, the Roman and Moose. Who knows? It's just something fun, man. Something fun. But you guys, man, this has been an amazing show this past week, you guys. Also, Monday Night Raw this past Monday. Doudrop defeated Liv Morgan. So Doudrop is going to be taking on Becky Lynch. Big time bets for the Raw Women's Championship. We seen KO defeat my guy, Damian Priest. I'm looking forward to more out of KO, man, since he signed his new contract. Let's see where his career goes on Raw or on SmackDown or on WWE, period. I would love to see the guy WWE champion real soon, but when that time comes, that'll come. That'll really, really come, man. Other than that, you guys, man, Monday Night Raw, man, wasn't bad, wasn't great, but it was decent. I tuned in. I don't know if you guys did, but that was that, man. I'm really excited for, like I said, the Royal Rumble. I need to get back up on my NWA, man. Like, I've been binge watching it. I just said, you know what? I got Fight TV. I got the subscription. And like NWA to me is like, man, like that's another thing before I head on out of here too, man. Pro wrestling, sports entertainment, pro wrestling, it's the same. Yeah, we got AEW out here and trying to distinguish what's what. And you got independent wrestling out here that's trying to do their thing and what's what. But like I said, another conversation I had on the Top Rose podcast, what these guys do day in and day out, these ladies, these guys, they do day in and day out. Yeah, it's athletic. If it's athleticism that goes in it, whether you jumping off the top rope, whether you're doing a springboard, whether you leapfrogging, whether you're doing whatever else, it's a sport, But then the entertainment value is what keeps you there. It's what keeps you coming back. You feel me? Yeah, the sport is two guys, yeah, they wrestle. But when growing up in that Attitude Era, when Triple H used to come out and whoop the Rock ass after he done won the main event and he done had the Rock bloody, that's the entertainment value of the show. It made you tune in next week to see what the Rock was going to say or do to Triple H. Because the Rock, he wasn't rocking like love. He was coming in and being like, yo, I'm about to whoop some candy ass and it's going to be that. Hell, like Stone Cold, for example. Like, come on. Or the American Badass, The Undertaker. Like, wrestling is entertainment. Period. It's entertainment. But I believe it's a sport. Yes, it doesn't have a score table. It doesn't have a scoreboard, but it's still a sport, and I believe it's still an entertainment, at the end of the day. Regardless whether the AEW marks want to try to say, oh, no. At the end of the day, bro, it's entertainment. Because that's what makes everyone continuing to tune back in and come back in. Yeah, good wrestling, yeah. But it's some entertainment in there, in that wrestling, trust me. Don't matter what it is, though. Don't matter what it is. Look, I lost what I was just about to say. But nonetheless, you guys, man, this has been a fun episode, a great episode of Talk Pro Wrestling, man. Had to, come through, stop past here on Talk Pro Wrestling, man, to get my thoughts and my opinions of what's going down this week in wrestling, you guys, man. I'm about to head on out of here. But before I do, you guys, you know what time it is, man. Don't forget to follow the 1130 Podcast on all social media platforms. Follow the 1130 Podcast on Twitter at the 1130 Podcast. Like the 1130 Podcast on Facebook and subscribe. Yes, subscribe to the 1130 Podcast on YouTube, you dig? And also, you guys, man, if you've been hacking on the Rock, my Instagram got hacked, so you see any other 1130 Podcast on IG, it ain't me. Like my man Shaggy say, it wasn't me. But yeah, it ain't me, man, for real. Follow me on IG at the 1130 Podcast _ for real. And also, you guys, man, tune in next week, next Wednesday and next Friday for the 1130 Podcast, streaming on EB Radio and YouTube, and right back here on Talk Pro Wrestling. Shout out, man, for real. Gotta do some shout outs real quick. Shout out to the Java Tears Podcast. Shout out to the Dirty Hills Podcast. Shout out to Clock Street Wrestling Podcast. Yo, shout out to Buzzing with Marlo. Shout out to the Off the Top Ropes Podcast. Shout out to the Rock and Wrestling Podcast. Shout out to the Weird Ones. Shout out to, man. Okay. Shout out to all the wrestling podcasters, man. Shout out to all the independent wrestlers. Shout out to my guy Tyree Taylor, who was here on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. Man, shout out to Pure Ignorance, man. Shout out to my guy AK Willis, man. For everyone out there, man, that you wrestling, keep doing your thing. Independent pro wrestlers, don't matter what it is, man. Just keep grinding at it. Don't let nobody, tell you anything different. You feel me? Keep doing your thing, keep grinding, and it's all gonna pay off, man, for real. I don't know what else to say, man, for real. I hope you guys have fun this coming weekend, actually. Hope you guys have fun the rest of this Friday, you guys, and enjoy your weekend. Like I said, SmackDown is tonight. Watch it. If you don't, hey, that's on you. Rampage, we got some independent wrestling going down. And like I said, man, I'll see you next week. And we got the Royal Rumble, man. We on the way, WrestleMania, baby. WrestleMania season is here. Lock and loaded. We ready, man. Yo, I'm out of here. Stay blessed, stay safe. Give all the glory to God, man. Won't he do it, yo? Yo, it's your man Dre, a.k.a. Dre on Wheels. And I'm out.